Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shoes Off Inside with me, Maylee Kelly, who, Tamlyn Tamita. Hello.
Aloha.
I know it is happy May, and as we know, it is the month of May,
It's
which
your
means
month.
oh, it is. I know. I always like celebrate May Day, which is May 1st.
Yes,
you know,
May Day, Lay Day.
Yes.
May Day,
Wait,
Lay
you
Day.
celebrate May. Wait, were you born in May?
No.
No, your mom just named you May.
No, you know what it is? It's because my Korean name is Mi Hyun. And so when my mom and dad were thinking of like, okay, what would be a good, like, you know, Anglo name? Because nobody could pronounce Mi Hyun, of course. So they just changed it to May. Not knowing, which is so interesting, not knowing that Mei Lee is such a common Chinese name.
Yes.
Right? So I've lived with that all my life. People assuming that I'm Chinese. Yeah, because of my name. Yeah. But it's
what does Mi Hyun mean in Korean? Do you know?
Okay, Mi, it means beauty.
It's same.
Yeah, just
same thing in Chinese and Japanese.
Exactly. So Mi, right? So like in Chinese it's Mei Guo, you know, that's America. And then Hyun means wisdom.
Oh.
Yes, it's a nice name. It's a nice
That
name.
is a nice name.
I know.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So,
I would want to go with my name. I would want to go with my Korean name because it's so significant and symbolic. But they can't, you know, people can't pronounce Hyun, Hyun. Just like Hyundai.
They can. They will with practice. Hyun. Yeah. They say Hyundai now.
Yeah, but remember, for years they were like Hyundai.
It takes a long time. Yeah, it takes a long time. So if you want to, go for it.
Yeah, might be a little too late. But anyway,
what is your Chinese name, Kelly?
No, I was going to ask you. Do you have ethnic name?
Yeah, Nao Mi. So Nao is pure, Mi is beauty.
Oh,
and that's Japanese.
That's Japanese.
Now,
okay.
Isn't it fun? Yeah, because Mi I know is May in Chinese, and I just found out Mi is Korean and beauty, beauty in Korean. So
so cool.
Wait.
Circular
names. Well, my given Chinese name is Waijung. I'm not even sure what it means because I think it means like precious or pearl. My grandmother named us, and I obviously don't know how to say it right because, you know, because I can't speak Chinese and Cantonese specifically. You know, I'm Cantonese.
Okay.
But when I won Miss Teen USA, they didn't know that I had a Chinese name because I never tell anybody, and the press in China gave me a Chinese name. And so I'm in China, I'm known as Hu Kai Li, which is something like victorious beauty, because I had just Miss Teen USA pageant.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, so they just...
And it kind of sounds like Kelly.
Right, Kelly.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's why they came up with that. Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah. The Chinese are really good at that. They make a name that sounds like your name.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like special meaning. And then this one like totally fit because I had just won that pageant.
Yeah.
Wait, so
speaking of Miss Teen USA.
Oh, yeah.
What a segue.
Good segue.
I just saw, it just happened to come up in my Instagram feed.
Yeah.
That the Miss Teen USA has also just resigned. I didn't even realize that Miss USA resigned. I was not on my radar. So I have no idea of what's going on there. Some people are like, oh, it's Donald Trump, but Donald Trump hasn't been with the pageant since 2015 or something.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, you cannot blame him for any of this, but what is going on with this? Anybody know?
Well, I mean, Miss USA, she resigned last week, right?
Correct.
And it's citing stress and mental health, things like that. From my understanding.
And I would like to share with you because it is not a coincidence. It cannot be. Yeah. If you read her Instagram post, the first letters of the almost the entire paragraph spell out, I am silenced.
No. Okay. I just got chills. It's like code.
Are you
serious?
You read the Instagram post. It's a long post. And then there are 3 other sentences after I am silenced, but it is absolutely. And then I was reading some of the comments. because I have to stop. Apparently, it was women have noticed that right away. And then I saw the mother of Miss USA had commented her support. And then Miss USA commented about really uplifting the Miss Teen USA. But then Miss Teen USA says that resigning is because the organization did not, her values did not align with the organization's values. And it was like, wow. And that's Miss Teen USA.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's an amazing. They're very much sisters in alignment as to what they're representing, but I think this is a really interesting topic about women and the idea of pageants. Kelly and I come from pageants, and wait,
you were in pageants too?
I didn't know that.
No. Nisei Week, the Japanese festival.
Oh, yes.
At that time in 1984 was known as a queen pageant or queen in court program, but it's still evolving. It's still evolving because we don't want to do just this. It's about representing a community. It's about representing the people. So
right. It's still a pageant.
Yeah. So again, Miss Teen USA and Miss USA, the queens have something to say, and I think the story will further develop.
I feel like there's so much going on politically, and there's such a divide. Politically,
that's an understatement.
That you have to be so careful about what you say.
Yeah.
And everybody's always going to be asking. Like, I remember as a teenager, people were asking my opinions on all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I'm only 16.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know who I am.
Exactly.
I remember it's like, I don't like to wear pantyhose, but I have to wear pantyhose because that's the uniform. I mean, we're talking the 80s.
Pantyhose in Hawaii, let me tell you, you are sweating your ass off.
I know. But again, I think it's all these elements that I think we're talking about, but also we have to remember and Kelly touched upon it. It's the sponsorships.
Yeah.
If Miss USA and Miss Teen USA win their crowns, they have to go visit those sponsors in return for their investment of sponsoring them.
Right.
And if those sponsors happen to be, again, not in alignment with the Queen's, if it's a bank that has, is Russian based, let's take, that's currently, if it's a Russian based bank, it's like, I can't, visit them because of what's going on in Ukraine. And down the line, and I think everybody knows what I'm saying about Israel and Hamas, what's going on there. It's very touchy, it's very delicate, but because, the US-based branch of whatever organization Miss USA must have to visit to pay respects and thanks. And those are hard decisions. Those are very, very hard decisions.
Yeah, and you've always got journalists in your face wanting you to say things that are going to be salacious and
newsworthy.
And so no offense, May, but that's the story. That's the
of course that's the story. Yes.
And if Miss USA or Miss Teen USA says something that doesn't align with who their sponsors are, then that causes all kinds of problems, but
not to mention,
story for them to sell.
And not to mention just social media in general, right? Anybody can catch anything and post it and you're done. Cancel culture, all of that. So, there's so many minefields for everyone to walk through every day, the average person. So let alone somebody in that position that's pressure filled, and the expectation.
These are
young women. And that's the thing.
Young women.
So the combination.
Who are thrust into this position overnight. Yeah. Not prepared.
But the combination of being expected to be poised and articulate and, and prepared in every capacity.
And political.
And then to represent this ideal beauty and the pressures of that. And I mean, I'm sure it's probably unbearable at times. So, because, you see what's going on across college campuses and, students wanting to speak out and protest. And so how is that being misconstrued or taken seriously or, how is it being dealt with by universities?
Squashed.
A lot of universities are not handling it well at all. In fact, have mishandled it so badly since the start.
Severely. Yeah.
I have I'll tell you a story that's related to this. Yesterday, I get a text message from one of my students. I'm not at USC anymore, right? I'm at a different university, but she texts me, and she's an Asian American student that I had. And she texts me, Professor Lee, can I speak to you about something? I need your advice. So we chat on the phone, and she was at one of the protests at USC, peacefully protesting. And, you know, they had an encampment there, and USC has now been trying to dismantle all the encampments. And this student was there. She hadn't taken part in building the encampment at all. And then when they told them to leave, the police told them all to leave. She was told that she could go to a building on campus to be safe. And she was given permission to go to this building. So she
By the
went
police.
there. By USC officials, right? And so she went with some other students, and all of a sudden the police showed up, went into the building and said, give me all your IDs. They confiscated, they took down the information. She's been suspended.
Yep.
So she's asking my advice about, like, what do I do? Is this going to hurt my journalistic career? You know, da da da. And so, I mean, I'm giving her hopefully sound advice, telling her, listen, you know, you were peacefully protesting. This doesn't sound like, you know, they took the right course of action. But first and foremost, do not worry that this is going to hurt your journalistic career. I said,
everybody will be interested in her story.
Right. That's what I said. I said, your story, now you have a lived experience, you know, a personal experience of having participated, you know, exercised your, you know, freedom of speech, freedom of protesting, peaceful protesting. And now you have a story to tell. And now you're going to have a better understanding of what happens in these situations. Right. And as an Asian female whose family came from Vietnam, right? Yep. I said, you have this incredible association and history, you know, and to sort of attach to this experience. And so I was trying to, you know, kind of give her pretty decent advice, hopefully. But it's just this unbelievable tension that's going across these campuses of young people. Like you were saying, Kelly, you know, these pageant girls are they're young women. These students are, you know, they're young. They're still trying to figure things out. They're still trying to figure things out. And they're getting such mixed messages. About what they can and cannot do.
So the student is lucky to have you, Professor Lee. But again, it reminds me of the story of our sister journalist, Josie Huang from LAist, who was accosted by LAPD during protests 2 years ago, and she won a settlement from LAPD because of the severity of the abuse that she suffered at the hands of LAPD. Yeah. So again, she was protesting. My memory, I can't remember which issue she was covering. She was covering a protest.
Was it Black Lives Matter? Was it?
I believe so, but I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, I'm not
because
sure.
I believe it was 3 years ago, and she just won the settlement, I believe, last winter. So it's been 2-3 years in the making. But it's Josie Huang, Huang, and she won a settlement against LAPD because she was covering the protests. She had her little press ID badge. She flashed it. She announced herself as press, and still, she suffered, injuries at the hands of LAPD. So, and she's, So again, your young, heroine, journalist student is in the right hands, and I'm glad she had somebody to talk to and receive sound advice from. So bravo to you, Professor Lee.
Well, thank you. But, this also reminded me of the importance of representation. So she reached out to me because she obviously saw me as a mentor, as an Asian, woman in academia that she could trust, and a journalist. And so, we won't get into this today, but, the last episode I talked to you guys about the incident at my current university, and how I, was so distraught by, something that was said in an evaluation. And so it makes me sad. Well, okay, I'll put it to you this way. it makes me very happy when a student like this one reached out to me because of the connection that she feels with me.
Yeah.
But then when I look at the sort of the overall representation at universities when it comes to people of color in positions of professors and educators, it's not great. It's not great. So I do find that so many Asian students gravitate towards me because they tell me they've never had an Asian teacher or professor before.
Right.
You know, I've never had a mentor growing up ever. Have you guys ever had mentors?
No, not really. Now, I have to say I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't because not as like an Asian, it's definitely not an Asian mentor who, you know, I looked up to because I was like, wow, she or he looks like me. And, you know, I felt a connection. No.
I'm hearing two different, I'm going to answer with two sides of the coin, two sides of the question. A mentor is somebody I look up to, even if I don't know them personally. So it is the Connie Chungs, it's Trisha Toyotas, it's, you know, the Helen Funais, it's all the Asian women that I saw on TV or on, you know, in film or on stage or just in the community. But then I think an active mentor that, again, specifically what, you know, May was experiencing with the student, I did not have that until after I got Karate Kid. So that was Helen Funai specifically. She was the one who mentored me, who took me under her wing because my dad and my mother had no idea what show business was all about. So I was lucky. But, and then remembering specifically, and Kelly and I have, you know, reminded each other how she visited the set of Karate Kid and she saw me and it's like, yay, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Again, we were all so young and we're just trying the best that we can do. And we just had people who were able to facilitate, I guess, a kind of sense of helpfulness. But a mentor was, for me, I did have one. So unlike
so it made a difference, but it made a difference to you, Tamlyn, right?
Yeah,
to have that direct mentor that you could go to and, you know, talk to and get guidance from.
Yeah, and her mentorship was specifically down one lane in terms of activism. She was not she was not a mentor for my activism. I came across that meeting a variety of people throughout my life who said, can you speak up? And I go, I can learn how to speak up. And that's what it is. It's the practice of being asked and then, you know, having that opportunity to speak and learn.
Yeah. Kelly,
you've done so well, Tam, with that. I have to commend you. Absolutely. Seriously. Yeah. You've been such a great representation for that. I guess the closest thing that I've ever had a mentor, the closest thing to a mentor that I've ever had, active mentor, was my high school drama teacher. Oh. But that, you know, who, by the way, just passed away.
Oh.
I just got a text on Facebook from his daughter that he had just passed away like a week ago or a week ago. So very sad. But Mr. James Bertino was the closest thing that I ever had to a mentor.
But see, here's the thing. This is a high school drama teacher, yeah? So and he made such an impact on you. You still remember him. You still remember his name. You still mention him.
Yeah. I mean, took his class every semester for 4 years. I never learned how to type. I never learned any computer skills. I never learned any of the other electives that I should have been learning because I took drama as my elective every single year, every single semester.
But that is so powerful. I mean, it was just National Teacher Appreciation Day the other day, and I ran across this video that I posted because it was like Adele, Oprah, Stephen Colbert, Harry Styles, all clips of them talking about a teacher that made a difference in their lives, right? And they're naming them, and then they show up in the crowd or whatever. And Adele is like totally doing the ugly cry. But it is so important, you know, to have somebody who can make that kind of lasting impact. You know, especially when you're younger, to feel like someone cares and someone understands, and you know, that is. My legacy, hopefully, will be that because I do have students reaching out like this. And the end of the semester is this week, and I'm done with the semester now. And I had 2 different Asian students, female, at my current university, tell me on separately how much it meant to them to have an Asian female professor standing up there, because they had never experienced that before, and it made them feel empowered. It encouraged them. It made them work harder, they said. I don't know if that's because it's a Tiger Mom thing, but no. But literally one student wrote me a long email just saying, when I saw you on the first day of class, I was so excited that I called my mom. And she said, my mom and I were both so excited that you were an Asian female professor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, things like that, like with your drama teacher, Kelly, I mean, hopefully these young women, students will remember that kind of impact, and it will change them, right? It's going to influence them. That's the hope, of course. Right? Yeah. Okay. So speaking of representation and, Asian being Asian, obviously.
Can I quickly interject something really quickly? Because I just want you to know, and I want all our listeners and our viewers to know, I just watched last night's Los Angeles Asian Pacific American Film Festival, the Visual Communications Film Festival. It is a documentary by Hao Wu and Miao Wang. It's called Admissions Granted. It's a documentary on affirmative action.
Oh, no.
And how Asian Americans from both sides, students for fair admissions versus Harvard University and University of North Carolina, about the issue of affirmative action and how the Supreme Court ultimately decided. Such an interesting, provocative, and super well-balanced view on the two camps
I love it.
Of Asian Americans and the issue of affirmative action. It's going to air on MSNBC on June the 30th.
Okay.
June the 30th. The title
is put that in our
Admissions Granted. It's super detailed. It's super balanced. It's a little long, but the impressions and the feelings and the passions and the arguments for and against affirmative action with our faces.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, there's so much work to do. And there's so much in terms of the diversity within Asian America. We're not a monolith.
No, definitely not.
Admissions Granted by Hao Wu and Miao Wang.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that controversy was so riddled with misunderstandings, but also a lot see. Stereotypes, right? That came out of that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see.
So that I'm okay. That, because I was, when I was going through that story, I was like, oh man, there's so many different aspects to this argument, and it was hard.
So many layers.
Okay.
There's so many layers.
Thanks for that.
So June 30th, Admissions Granted.
Okay.
On MSNBC.
Great. Okay. We'll put that in our notes, in our show notes, so that everybody pays attention to that. All right. So May, of course, is also AANHPI Heritage Month. We know that. We're all celebrating in different ways.
That just off your
my Asian American.
Never say it so fast.
And my Asian American shirt is designed by Ali Maki,
which is so cool.
Soon-to-be mom.
I know.
And this is her Asian American Girls Club.
Yeah.
But this is the Heart Mountain edition, because she joined me in attending the Heart Mountain concentration camp in Cody, Wyoming last year. And that's where all four, both her grandparents and both her grandfathers were interned at Heart Mountain. And my great-grandfather and great-grandmother were interned. So we were both there together. And, just being there on the grounds where, our ancestors were incarcerated for 3 years was super moving. But now she's going to become a new mom with Travis Atrail, and she's going to pass along the legacy of what it means to be American. So
that's so awesome. Yeah, that's so great. Well, so because we are celebrating AANHPI month, I just said it again really fast.
Practice.
Yes. And so everyone's pretty busy attending different events, and the three of us are all going to be in Washington next week to attend a couple of different events. Kelly and Tamlyn, I think you're both speaking at different functions. And we're all attending the Asian Prom, which they call it, right? The APAICS.
Oh, we have to get a photo together.
Oh yeah.
Hello. Yes.
What table are you sitting at?
Wait, you already got tables?
I know I'm sitting. I know I'm sitting with Susan.
Susan Ginjavis?
Yeah.
So you're probably sitting at the Comcast table, Comcast Universal table?
No, I don't think so, because she is the gala chair.
Oh, then you're sitting at the APAICS table.
Yeah.
So APAICS, for everybody who's watching, is
explain.
the Asian Pacific American Institute of Congressional Studies, APAICS.
Yes.
And it was founded in 1992 by Norm Mineta. And it's a organization that really seeks to encourage, invest, and develop young persons who are interested in going into politics, whether it means to be a politician, whether it means to be a staff, whether it means to be an administrator, but it literally recruits interns and students to serve under a senator, under a congressman for a summer, for a year, to be able to fold in what the experience is of working on the Hill.
Yeah.
So that's what APAICS is.
Yeah, it's important because
they're trying to APAICS. What is APAICS?
Oh God. We were talking before we started the show about all these different acronyms that make it gets so confusing. It gets but Tamlyn is more of the expert amongst the three of us when it comes to
I'm not more the expert because,
the differentiating.
Because actually, historically, APAICS was known as Kapachi when it started.
What?
So it's like, what is it now? It's like 2024. When did we change? So again, I'm not the expert. I've just seen so much. Again, change happens slowly, and it still takes time for everybody to catch up. But yeah, APAC, and there's so many acronyms, but APAICS is the reason why the three of us are going, because it's affectionately called Asian Prom. There's a highly glittery host of speakers and guests, and usually it's all about AANHPI politicians and their supporters, nonpartisan, in the room, together, just celebrating what it means to be AANHPI.
Yeah, it's very powerful when you see all of the members of Congress and other political leaders, all Asian, who come up on the stage, because you see, wow, we've come, we've made progress. We still have a lot more progress to make, but yeah, it's a great celebration of the leadership that exists, but then also the need for cultivating new leadership, right? And that's why this is so important. Investing in younger generations to go into politics to make that difference, right? So
this is going to be my first time.
Oh,
what? I've never been.
Oh my God. Okay. Well then, this will be so fun that the three of us are going to be there together.
Oh, this is Kelly who's debut, our personal experience. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you've been, I know, Kelly, you've been to Washington speaking in a variety of panels over the years concerning, again.
Last year was my first one.
Really? Because I thought you were in Washington.
I thought no. Last year was my first time. I've always been like working or not working and not invited. But yeah, last year was my first time getting to do a panel, and I couldn't stay for the gala because I was shooting. I was shooting EMF at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this year I get to stay for the gala, and I get to go bowling at the White House.
Oh, I want to come. I know there's a bowling alley there, right? Yeah.
I heard it's only 2 lanes and very small, but I'm super excited.
It's very small. The White House. Have you been to the White House yet, Kelly?
I haven't. No, I mean,
you haven't?
I've been there as a kid, but no, I've never gone to a function there.
It's much smaller than you would think. It's like, it's like people, again, it's the magic of television. It's much smaller, but it feels, and to me, it feels very humble. It feels very American. It's the people's house, it feels great. But then it's like, oh, no wonder, it's such an extraordinary small list of people that they're able to invite, because they literally can't fit everybody.
Yeah, they were saying how the White House was so small that when Trump got into office and moved into the White House, that he was actually downgrading. so much smaller.
I'm surprised while he was there, he didn't like, turn it all like gold, like,
he did. He tried to, that room, when
Wait,
didn't
Melania do like a bunch of interior design? Because usually the
first lady has a design, like
the first lady does all like redoes all the interior, right?
Some of the interior,
she can. Yeah. But the atrocity that she did was she ruined the fucking rose garden. It is no longer with roses. It looks like,
I mean, why?
It's
yeah, I know.
How long had it been there, this rose garden?
I'm sorry?
The rose garden was there since JFK, right? Or was it longer than that?
I think the garden itself has been there, I don't know, ever since the inception, the construction of the White House. But it was Jackie Kennedy who famously she brought in a plethora of rose bushes, and it became this orchard of rose bushes and specific fruit trees. I think they're pear or some kind of a fruiting tree, a blossoming tree, and it became this just lush, gorgeous, very feminine, because of the flowers and that association with femininity. But when Melania came in and destroyed it, and it's become boxwood hedges and concrete, it's just it's disastrous.
She also took out all the gardens that Michelle Obama had planted.
Michelle Obama.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she really put her mark on the place. But it kind of doesn't surprise me, of course, that she took away Michelle Obama's garden, but it doesn't surprise me about the rose garden because she doesn't have the same sort of history, right? She's not from the United States. And so she doesn't understand the impact of what that meant to people.
Yeah, but you know what? When you become the first lady, I don't really fucking care where you're from. You're the first lady of the United States.
And you have a team of people to educate you.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how she was caught plagiarizing. Like, clearly they're not working with her very well.
That's true.
They're not working with her very well,
or she
cannot listen.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we can go down this rabbit hole. We probably shouldn't. But yes.
Yeah, and just laugh at that, that husband and wife team. It's like I think that's for me, I'm tired of getting angry and irritated by the two of them. And I just have to continue to laugh at the ridiculousness and the absolute idiocy. But coupled with the sheer unabashed, grasp for power. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah. But tiny hands.
That could be
tiny hands.
But actually, no, you're laughing, Tamlyn, but you're actually doing something about it too, because you are part of a new PAC called AA4D, Asian Americans for Democracy.
Actually, this is really, thank you. And I don't want to take too much time, but I'm the chair of Kappa 21, which is the, I should learn, but it's a PAC, a C4, that was originally founded by Dale Manami, and is with Dale Manami currently, Ginger Liu, Maylee Tom, and Keith Kamasugi. And they asked me to become the chair because they are of an older age and they would like to do other things. And I said I would gladly and humbly, because I don't know shit about politics or fundraising or C4 activities. It's about fundraising and getting money so we can, Kappa 21, can donate it to organizations to help elect progressive candidates who support AAPI politicians, as well as politicians who support AANHPI issues. Mm-hmm. Kappa 21 is the PAC. AA4D, Asian Americans for Democracy, is a new partner that Kappa 21 has agreed to partner with specifically for this year. And it is comprised of individuals that are legendary in Asian America or America across the country.
Let me bring up this question as a journalist, because I get this often from young people, especially like students. that they are very sort of disillusioned, obviously, by politics for, obvious
Not
reasons.
just the young people.
I know, but with the candidates especially, because the number one reason is that they're both old, right?
Yeah.
And so you have these young people saying, I don't want to vote for either one of them because they're too old.
Yeah.
Right. So my answer is, I try to be thoughtful in the answer. I can't argue against that. I'm like, yeah, they are old. There's no getting around that. But, it's a decision between, truth and, fiction and someone who is an upstanding citizen and believes in the country versus somebody who believes in himself. You try to lay it out that way in a thoughtful manner. But what do you guys think? I mean, honestly, when you're posed with that question, or even yourselves, when you think about that, is that something that concerns you? Is that something that should concern people? And how do you answer that?
It concerns me for sure.
Yeah.
Either candidate concerns me with the whole age thing. And because what you have to do then is really look to the vice president, see who the vice president is, who could end up running the country. And so you're not really just voting for the president, you're really, in this case, also voting very much for the vice president, because that's very much a possibility.
It's a possibility, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And as we know, the Kristi Noem story, the governor of North Dakota, right? The woman who just admitted in her book that she went out and shot her 14-month-old Cricket, her puppy, because she thought she was untrainable. But anyway, so she's probably
why not just give it away?
Yeah, I know, exactly. she was basically trying to show off her toughness to the MAGA crowd, that she has to make these tough decisions like shooting a fucking puppy in the face. But yeah.
Has the MAGA crowd, have these conservatives who would normally back somebody like her, have they come out in support of that?
The MAGA
in
crowd
support of her?
Yeah, her and what her action was.
I think there is a significant amount of GOPers and MAGA persons who have responded negatively against her, but there are still that stalwart portion of MAGA who love her, and it's like, wow.
And they'll still vote for Donald Trump. So that it hasn't changed their position.
She was on the VP list.
She was,
right?
She was.
Right. Yeah. And not to disparage North Dakota. She's the governor of South.
Sorry. Thank you for correcting that. Yes.
Yeah.
But
again, Kelly, you are correct. We are also voting for not only the vice president, but also all the, for lack of a better phrase, because I'm not being patient. It's the MAGA minions who are following, who are literally kowtowing, to use that racist term, to be the vice presidential candidate under Trump. Yeah. And again, we have to be very aware. We have to keep all eyes out as to what they're saying. Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley. There's such a coterie. Lindsey Graham is still in the mix. It's like, come on, man. It's like, what is the best choice out of the two that, and again, I have to be very careful with my patients and not parent and not yell, but really listen to the concerns of the young people. Because I think that's the question May was saying.
Right.
Is that we do have a choice. There are only two clear choices. You have to say something, because we do not want to go back to where we were 8 years ago.
Right.
And that is because not only what's going on with Israel and Hamas and that whole debacle, Biden is trying to make slow changes into what the U.S. wants to do in terms of that genocide. But also, when you take a look at what happens historically, that 6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices see that the 3 of us and all our sisters across the country do not have a right to our own bodies. Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
Yep.
That's an issue that speaks to us, half the population in America. And these are issues that are so significant, that are so personal to each and every one of us, that we have to go, we need to align ourselves with the best candidate, because the other candidate has no concern for women, has no concern for what's going on with Israel Hamas, except to back the winner. And
the abortion issue alone I would hope, would bring out young voters, because they're the ones that are going to be affected, not us. We're past all of that, right?
Yeah, but in internal discussions, and I would like to say it here because I feel I can, it's like, we are human beings. We have sex, we make love. And for women or for couples who become pregnant unwantingly, in 15 states, they cannot have an abortion.
Yep.
And there are 10 more who are on fast track to banning it.
Yep.
That's a right to the body of the woman, regardless of religion. And it's a personal decision.
What about these children?
Yeah.
The children.
About these unwanted children.
Right. No. Remember, I mean,
that's who I'm mostly concerned about.
The joke is the conservatives care about the unborn fetus, right? But once they're born, who the fuck cares about them? Like, what do you
give them a gun?
Yeah, and then exactly. Yeah. But you don't care when they're shot to death in a school by a gun,
especially if they're a certain color. Yeah,
right. It's just mind-boggling, the hypocrisy, and that they can't see that they don't realize what they're saying. And then the whole IVF thing, you know, how they're trying to like ban IVF. It's just like, oh, so you believe in children and people having children, but then you don't want to allow people who want to have children. It's because it's IVF. What? Yeah.
So to young people, it's not a single issue campaign. It's not a single issue concern. Personal choices. Yes, I know because of the what's going on in Israel and Gaza. It feels like the personal decision to not vote for Biden because of past policies, but we must have the macro vision as to who the best candidate is. And for me, is to really sensitively hear and listen, but to also think about not only the individual choice that we each make, but it's the collective choice as we make as a nation.
Yeah. And because complacency is not the way to go. And not voting, because I've had a couple of students say, I'm not going to vote. And I literally, I mean, I have to, speaking of patience, I have to be very patient because I literally want to reach over and strangle them for saying that, but I can't, right? I try to hear them out and I try to understand their position. I want more people to do that so you can have these civilized conversations and educate and inform ourselves too, because we have to understand why they're saying this instead of just shutting them down.
They want to smother us too. They want to strangle us too, because it's like,
Right. All right. So I wanted to get to a couple of things about this latest status report that the Asian American Foundation put out about Asians and how we're viewed. And I'm just going to quickly go over some of the results because I think this is related to everything we're talking about still, that there is this problem with visibility and representation. And that's why we're all, speaking up constantly about it. So the status report they do every year, they survey like almost 7,000 people that are non-Asian and Asian. And they found that there's still a lot of Asian hate, even though quite a few people think that it's gone. But you know what I found so interesting is that Asian Americans are the least likely group to feel strongly that they belong in the U.S. So there is a problem with Asians still feeling like they're not part of this country or that they don't belong.
Could it be because people keep telling us all to go back to China? No matter where you're from, no matter what your ethnicity.
And no matter how many generations your family has been here.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you guys, do you ever feel this way where you don't feel completely accepted in this country?
Still, yeah. And it depends on the room I'm in.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and again, I think I can speak for my own self. I'm of a certain age that is, suffice it to say, I still look good for the age I am. I am attractive. I'm a known figure, so I know I slide up and be in a privileged position than most Asian women.
Yeah.
But then there are rooms when I walk in and I go, I need to represent because I feel like I'm the only And I just, I guess it's just something that I grew up with. And I would like to say most people, despite being Asian, they just want to represent their people. They want to represent their family, their community, their city, LA, you know, kind of thing. It's like those kinds of things still, you know, and it might be my perception, but then this is what I receive from literally the vibes in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. Kelly, do you ever feel like you're not completely part of this country or belong here, or
like Tamlyn, you know, being a celebrity, you mostly get to see the best of people.
That's right.
You know, you don't really, I wouldn't get told to my face to go back to China by someone who didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Or by somebody who did know who I was, I should say.
Yeah.
It would, and I don't feel like I'm not an American, and maybe because I grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Asians are the majority.
A little bit different.
So I've never felt that way until I moved to the mainland, where I suddenly, you know, like the idea of being a minority kind of hit me a little harder, you know?
Okay. I can't even count how many times I've encountered racism, but remember, my experience was growing up in Ohio, in the Midwest, right? So I experienced it on a very regular basis. And even as an adult, going back to Ohio as a reporter, I experienced, you know, very overt racism with phone calls telling me to go back to where I came from. You know, people yelling at me on the street, "Fuck you, Pearl Harbor." I mean, really just, yeah, you got, I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was, but you know, again, I was made very aware at an early age that it existed and I was different. So I think to answer my own question is, yeah, no, I've always felt that I didn't completely belong. And even at the age of 58 now, I still feel that way. There's still a part of me that feels that way. That unless
I'm still growing up that way, it's ingrained.
Right? You guys brought up a very good point of the status and the recognition factor that you are both, you know, known, and so you know that wields some power and some, you know, influence, and so therefore people are going to treat you differently. That's a sense of entitlement to a certain extent. And so for me, being a journalist and having been on CNN when I was recognized, I could feel the difference, of course. How unfair is that then to the average person who doesn't have, you know, that kind of recognition, that kind of influence? So of course they're not going to feel like they belong because they don't have anything to offer, right?
Exactly.
There's nothing. So how sad that we have to feel like we have to offer something for us to feel like we belong.
To be seen.
Right. That we can't just be this, just us and belong. In a country that we are Americans. We, you know, we live here. You know, so that is the irony of that, right? It's like other people don't have to feel that way. They just belong because they look the part, right? Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting part of this status report where it's just like that hasn't changed. Most Asians still feel like they don't belong. And of course, the one question they always ask, which I just find hilarious because it never changes, is what prominent Asian American can you name, right? When they did this 4 years ago, first survey, most of the answers was like, I can't think of one, right? Not one single prominent Asian American.
Not even like a Lucy Liu.
No. So here's the
majority. She's been in songs.
Yeah, the majority of respondents, their answer is, I can't think of one. Okay. This year, the survey, again, 52% of those surveyed said, I can't think of one. But at the second place, you know, answer at 9%, Jackie Chan, who is
not American.
Exactly.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay. And then in third place, Bruce Lee, who's been dead for 50 years. Okay. And then it goes down to 1%. Oh, these are 1% people. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Don Ho, Manny Pacquiao, who again is not American, Mindy Kaling. This is all 1%. 1% of the vote.
Just all share the 1%.
Yeah. Mahatma Gandhi,
Mm-hmm.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Barack Obama, and Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
I'm kind of on the fence, proud of 52% can't name one Asian American, because they go, I think a majority of those say, do think Jackie Chan's not American. I think they understand what Asian American is.
Oh,
that's what I kind of, placate myself with, is like, I think people understand, Jackie Chan is not American.
Sam, that's a pretty low bar.
I know. I'm grasping for straws. But
look
still,
at Kelly's face. She's just like totally disgusted.
I'm so disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's where we are. We're still here.
That's where we are.
We're still in the same place as we were 4 years ago when they first started the survey. It really, the results have not changed.
What are they talking to? Is my question.
Yeah, this is 7,000 people.
Are they
7,000 people.
America?
Yeah. Well, no, they're trying to get a cross section of people, and but that tells you something. That really does tell you something. It's very telling. So anyway, I had to share this because the status report just came out, and I always enjoy reading it just because I want to see if anything has changed. And, sadly, a lot hasn't changed, but some things have. And I think better representation in politics and media and things like that, that's where, that's where we have to chip away.
And I do think, looking at it just comparatively from those status indexes, is that Michelle Yeoh's in there. And surprisingly, Vivek Ramaswamy's in there.
I know,
because it's the power of saturation in the media.
Yeah.
And what he says is so outlandishly provocative that what Kelly was saying is that journalists will pick that up because it's fodder for talk.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee.
That we had 2 Asian Americans who just won Academy Awards.
Oh, no.
And people still could not name a single one.
No.
Yeah. I mean, and I think people still, because I'm always checking myself. Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah.
Do people understand how to pronounce his name? And it's like the guy who was in Goonies who just won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's still, again, I love the guy, and I can't wait for his next thing. But again, and I think you and all 3 of us know that, he needs to keep his train running.
Yep.
And it's like, when's your next thing coming out? When's your next thing coming out? Strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah. So. Right. People have a short memory. Especially when it comes to Asians, obviously. So.
Yeah. If I remember last year's poll, I think it was members of BTS or Blackpink was included, if I'm not mistaken.
Were they? That would surprise me, but
then
okay.
I go, again.
Yeah.
They
don't.
Did they see what age range of people they were talking to?
I think it is in the report in terms of demographics and things like that. I will say they try to get a pretty good cross section of respondents for the survey.
Because I would imagine that younger people would be able to name at least some entertainers.
An Asian American?
Possibly,
yeah.
Yes. Possibly.
I think so.
Yeah, but
I think they would say Lana Kandor. I think they would say you. I think they would definitely say Ming Na Wen. Sandra Oh. I mean, again, it's very interesting.
At least Mindy Kaling got in there.
Yay!
Yay! But some
right.
people don't think of Indian as being Asian. That's maybe
that's another. Yeah,
that's
another thing.
Well, the fact that they said Barack Obama is interesting.
He was born in Hawaii.
Oh, that's true. Maybe that's why.
That's why. Yeah, that's how I always. It's like,
oh my God,
I'm not surprised, but yeah. Again,
well, you know what? It is our month,
and
we should.
The Rock is not Asian.
Well,
no, Samoan.
He's Samoan.
Pacific Islander.
But that's native.
Pacific
but they were talking Asian, or were they also?
They were talking about, I think, AANHPI.
AANHPI.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, the respondents that wouldn't know the difference anyway. They would probably be like, "What do you mean, Pacific Islander?" Sorry, I'm
sorry. Is that what? Is that
yeah? But well, we are proud. We are all very proud to be Asian, and we certainly this month we celebrate that all month long. But we should celebrate it all year long, which we do. That's why we do this show called Shoes Off Inside. And I'm wearing my Shoes Off Inside slides.
Look at how flexible you are.
I know, right? With my socks, like a good Asian person, I wear slides with socks, right? But here, okay. So we have these exclusive slides on IG. You can order them. So look for them. They're so cute. They're adorable. They're super comfy.
Adorable.
Okay, Tamlyn, I gave you a pair because I saw you recently. But Kelly, I'm gonna have to bring a pair to you in DC.
Yeah, bring it to the prom.
Well, we should all wear.
Those on after a while.
I know exactly. We should all wear them together. So, but yes. Anyway, oh God, I got to get my leg back. Hang on. Okay. So this is
sell them for a lot of money at that prom around 12 o'clock.
That's true. That's not a bad idea. Okay.
Oh, just to let you know, at the APAICS gala, oh God, what is his name? Shoot. Eric Nam is performing at the after party.
Oh, fun. So
I know that for a lot of young folks,
they're going to love that.
Draw. He's a great name. And actually, he was just recently announced as the lead for
something.
The voice of, I believe, of Aang in the new Avatar, The Last Airbender from the Avatar Studios series.
So the animated series.
He's on his way. So,
yeah.
He's been on his way.
Okay. So I've met Eric, and I couldn't believe how beautiful his skin is. So if you have a chance, you go say hello to him next week, and you will. His skin is
glowing,
flawless, flawless. Yeah. He's a very, very handsome young man.
Handsome man.
Yeah, young man. And very sweet, very humble.
Very sweet.
Okay. All right. Well,
people with perfect skin.
I know.
You know, being that I go through all this stuff with my melasma, I am so envious of anybody with perfect skin.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He has perfect skin. So, well, ladies, it's always a pleasure. But I can't wait to see all of you.
We get to see. Yeah, we'll be in the same room. Literally.
I know. Well, I'm gonna.
First time since.
That'll only be is that going to be the second time?
Yes.
Third time.
Maybe second time or
right?
Third time.
Because the first time was when we went to all see Tamlyn's play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when you were in it.
And we have to take a proper picture. So I know there's a stand and repeat, step and repeat at the APAICS gala. So the three of us need to make a proper picture.
Yes.
But I'm just very hopeful that they have good lighting because again, this is
terrible.
People in Washington, D.C. don't know good lighting. And I go, okay. Yeah. I'll text them and go, make sure you have good lighting at the step and repeat.
Oh God.
So
okay.
Actually, I will do that right now.
You know what? I'll tell Susan that too, for sure. But yes, I might be shooting some video and stuff, you know, of the events and stuff. So maybe I'll get you guys on camera as well. But no, we will see each other and have so much fun next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Yay! Can't wait.
Bye, everyone. Bye. See you soon. Thank you for watching, everyone. Follow us on Shoes Off Inside. Mwah. Until next time. Okay. We are together.
Oh my God.
Together. The Shoes Off ladies.
And how long?
Yeah.
We were trying so hard to get this to happen, just so you know, that we actually had to finally just do it in the car.
See, it's an 11:07 in Washington, D.C. on May 15th for the culmination of AANHPI Heritage Month.
Exactly. So we're here celebrating in Washington, D.C. That's what it took. We all had to fly from the West Coast to the East Coast to be together.
In the rain, too.
In the rain.
Yeah.
Yes, and I went to my first Asian prom. This was not your first, clearly, Tam, because you are such a star here. Everybody knows her and the work that she's doing for our community.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is this your first Asian prom?
Second.
Oh, your second Asian prom.
So we were here at the APAICS Asian prom. So celebrating congressional leaders, President Biden was the keynote speaker,
wow,
which was fantastic.
And Speaker Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh my God, he was amazing.
Dr. Judy Chu, Ted Lieu,
Adele Lim
was awarded.
Yes.
So it's just a celebration of all things that our community is doing in the political arena, social, nonprofits, entertainment,
arts and
media.
culture.
Yeah. So we had a wonderful time, but now we're in the car on the way to the after party.
The after party where we're going to go see Eric Nam.
I feel like this is Taxi Cab Diaries.
Do we have secrets, the salacious secrets that we need to tell and spill?
Not right now. Not right now.
No,
but
this was amazing, though. Can I just tell you?
Did you have a good time?
I not only had a great time, I was so emotional during the entire thing.
Oh,
you know, during the national anthem.
Yes.
I started thinking about my grandparents for some reason. I don't know why they popped into my head.
Okay.
You know, my grandparents who were all brought up, born and raised in Hawaii, and who, you know, were there before Hawaii was a state and territory and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And here I was representing Native Hawaiians, you know, in a White House initiative, going to the White House, and it just made me so happy to think how proud they would have been.
Them with you.
They would have been so proud.
Yes.
You're so right. You're so right.
And so many of us, right, who have Adele, who was also very emotional, Adele Lim, who was crying all night as well, who herself is an immigrant, you know, and getting an award here at the nation's capital for the work that she's doing. I was so moved by all the speeches.
No, you know what,
everything.
you're right, because when they were talking about the 1965 Act that allowed more immigrants to come in to the country, that's when my father came in 1965.
There was an acknowledgement in the room.
Then I was born in 1966 in America. And so my gratitude also is, wow, you know what, this country has given my family so much. And so therefore we need to give back.
And it's on the shoulders of other persons who don't look like us.
That's
so
right.
it's due to the civil rights movement, it's due to the Black Power movement, is due to Latino immigrant workers, is due to the indigenous persons who are finally getting their time in the sun again.
There were so many Native Hawaiians at this event, and
the blessing, the Native Hawaiian
blessing. Oh my God, he went to school with my brother. He was my brother's classmate. Yes, Dr. Crab.
Dr. Crab. I know. I always
said
said
where we
Dr.
have
Crab.
all the connections. You know, so. And I love that. That's what this celebration is all about. So
absolutely,
and the fact that we are together
for only the second time
in a car together.
Squeezed in.
I know. This might not happen for another
30 years.
But anyway, we just wanted to share this moment with all of you and celebrate AANHPI Heritage Month together in this way. So.
Thank you,
love
Michelle,
you guys.
Thank you guys for
I know
supporting.
Michelle,
thank you for my husband Daniel Blinkoff.
Yes, thank you, Daniel, for being quiet over there.
He wants to make snide remarks. No.
He's
supportive always.
So
always supportive.
My love.
Yes,
okay.
My love loves all.
Okay. See you soon, everyone.
Bye.